At first, she's convinced that she's in control. She believes you'll always be there, always trying, always making sure she feels wanted. She assumes that even if she pulls back, you'll step forward to close the gap. That's just how it's always been, right? But then something changes. You stop reacting the way she expects. You're no longer reaching out, no longer making her a priority, no longer investing your time and energy into her. At first, she doesn't care, or at least that's what she tells herself. She shrugs it off, convinced it's just a phase. Maybe you're trying to play hard to get. Maybe you're just testing her. In her mind, she still holds all the power because she believes you'll eventually fold. So, she waits. She expects that in a few days, maybe a week, you'll break the silence. You'll send a message, check in, and make it known that you still care. But then, nothing happens, and that's when the shift begins. At first, it's just a small nagging thought in the back of her mind. She wonders why you haven't reached out. She checks her phone more often than usual, scrolling through old conversations, maybe even opening up your chat but resisting the urge to message first. She tells herself, I could reach out if I wanted to. He's probably just waiting for me. But still, she doesn't. Not yet. She wants to see how long you'll last. She wants to test whether you're really done or if you're just playing a game. But as the days pass and you remain distant, something inside her shifts. She starts to feel something unfamiliar, a loss of control. She always assumed she could dictate the pace of your interactions, decide when to give and when to pull away. But now she's realizing she might have miscalculated. This realization shakes her confidence. She starts questioning things she never had to think about before. Did I do something wrong? Why isn't he chasing me anymore? Did he meet someone else? The same woman who once felt secure in your attention is now feeling insecure about your absence. That's when she starts looking for little ways to pull you back in. She might post something she thinks will catch your attention, a picture, a vague caption, or a song lyric that hints at emotions she's not ready to say out loud. She might even send a casual message just to see if you'll bite. But here's what most men don't realize. This isn't her missing you, not yet. This is her checking to see if she still has you in the palm of her hand. And if you respond right away, if you jump at the chance to talk to her again, if you show her that her slight effort is all it takes to bring you back, she immediately feels secure again. She gets her answer. She knows she can still have you whenever she wants. And just like that, the cycle resets. She doesn't have to work for you. She doesn't have to value you. She doesn't have to feel any real sense of loss, because you never truly walked away. That's why the most important thing you can do in this moment is to hold your ground. If you want her to feel the full impact of your absence, you can't just disappear for a few days and then fold the moment she reaches out. She needs to feel what it's like when she no longer has control over your attention, and that means staying disciplined, because it's not just about making her miss you, it's about making her see you differently. A woman doesn't chase a man who is always there, always waiting, always available. She chases a man who she feels could slip away if she doesn't step up. She respects a man who values himself enough to walk away from anything that doesn't serve him, and once she sees you in that light, everything changes. The unraveling begins when she realizes she no longer has power over you. The first cracks in her confidence have already formed. At first, she was convinced that your silence was temporary. She thought, he'll be back. He always comes back. But the days are passing, and you're still not reacting. You're not chasing. You're not checking in. Now, the dynamic between you has completely shifted. She starts feeling something uncomfortable, a loss of control. This isn't just about missing you. It's about something deeper, something that affects her sense of security and self-worth. For many women, Knowing that a man is emotionally invested in them provides a certain level of validation. Even if she was distant, even if she wasn't treating you well, even if she barely responded to your messages, she still liked knowing that you were there, that you cared, that you were waiting. But now that certainty is gone. And when a woman no longer feels certain that she has you, her mind starts racing. She starts overanalyzing the situation. Did he meet someone else? Why hasn't he broken yet? Has he really moved on from me? She might not have wanted to fully commit before, but she also never considered the possibility of you slipping away entirely. Now, that possibility is staring her in the face. She starts to feel the weight of it. This is when her emotions start working against her. The same woman who once thought she was in full control is now second-guessing everything, and instead of feeling like the one making the decisions, she's suddenly on the receiving end of the uncertainty. She checks your social media more than she'd like to admit. She notices your absence in conversations with friends. She starts to feel a void where your attention used to be. This is when panic starts creeping in, because before, even when she was distant, even when she wasn't putting in effort, she still felt like she could reach you if she wanted to. But now she's not so sure. And that lack of certainty creates an emotional reaction that she didn't see coming. Women are emotional creatures, and emotions dictate attraction more than logic ever will. She might have told herself that she was done, that she didn't need you, that she had other options. But none of that matters anymore, because emotionally she's feeling something she can't ignore: loss. And loss is powerful. It forces people to reassess what they once took for granted. It makes them realize the difference between having something valuable and losing something irreplaceable. For the first time, she's seeing you not as a man who was always there at her convenience, but as a man who could actually be gone. That thought is uncomfortable for her, because if she lets you go, she has to face a harsh reality. There's no guarantee she'll find another man like you. She might try to distract herself, go out more, spend time with friends, or even talk to other guys, but none of it truly replaces what you gave her. Validation from random people is easy, but connection, that's rare. And once a woman starts feeling the void of your absence, she stops seeing you as just another guy. She starts seeing you as the one who got away. And that realization, that's when her behavior shifts. She can't ignore what she feels anymore. She can't convince herself that she doesn't care. And that's when she starts doing something she swore she wouldn't do. She starts chasing you. The turning point, when her ego collides with her emotions. She never expected to feel this way. In her mind, she thought she could move on without looking back. She thought she could just replace you with distractions, attention from other men, or a busy social life. But none of it is working the way she thought it would. She's laughing at jokes, but it doesn't feel the same. She's getting attention, but it doesn't give her the same rush. She's going out, but there's an emptiness that lingers. She told herself she was fine. She convinced herself that losing you didn't matter. But now she's realizing that the only reason she thought she was in control before was because she never actually felt the loss. And that's when something inside her shifts. She doesn't just miss you now, she needs reassurance that she hasn't completely lost you. But here's where the conflict begins. She's fighting a war within herself. Her ego doesn't want to admit that she wants you back. Her pride doesn't want to be the first to reach out. Her fear of rejection stops her from fully expressing what she's feeling. So instead of directly telling you how she feels, she starts testing the waters. She might send a casual message, something meaningless, something vague, just to see if you'll engage. She might react to an old post of yours, hoping you'll take it as a sign to reach out. She might even bring up old memories in a subtle way, trying to remind you of what you once had. But here's the key moment, the one where everything is decided: how you respond. This is where most men fail. The second she gives them even the smallest amount of attention, they rush back in. They immediately drop all the power they had regained and return to chasing her as if nothing ever happened. And just like that, she feels in control again. She gets her reassurance. She sees that you're still available, and that fear of losing you is gone. Now, she doesn't have to fight for your attention. She doesn't have to change her behavior. She doesn't have to value you because you already gave her exactly what she needed to feel secure again. And the moment she feels secure, she stops wanting you. That's why you cannot react the way she expects. Because right now, she's finally at a place where she actually feels the weight of your absence. She finally respects you again, not because you begged for it, but because you took it away when she stopped valuing it. And this is when you make your most important decision. Do you give her easy access back into your life, letting her take you for granted again? Or do you hold your ground, making her realize that if she truly wants you back, she has to prove it? The truth is, if she genuinely values you, she won't just send a random text and disappear again. She'll start putting in effort. She'll start being consistent. She'll start showing up in ways she never did before. And if she doesn't, then she was never truly afraid of losing you. She was just afraid of losing the control she once had. A man who understands his worth never settles for being just an option. The breaking point comes when she realizes you're no longer the same man. She's tested the waters, sent small signals to see if you'd take the bait. But now she's realizing something she never expected. Her old tactics don't work on you anymore. Before, all it took was a simple text or a little breadcrumb of attention to bring you running back. She had control, and she knew it. But this time, something feels different. You're not reacting the way you used to. You're not chasing. You're not desperate for her validation. And that realization shakes her to her core. Because what does that mean? It means you've changed. And that's where the real fear starts to set in. Because if you've changed, it means you might never come back to her. This is the moment when her emotions and her pride start battling again. Part of her wants to act like she doesn't care, but a much bigger part of her feels the loss in a way she can't ignore. She might still try to convince herself that she doesn't need you. She might still tell herself that she can replace you, but deep down, she knows the truth. She knows that a man who truly walks away is a man who may never return. And that's the moment when her desire for you reaches its peak. Because now she doesn't just want to know if she can have you back. She wants to know if she's even capable of getting you back. This is when she starts making real moves. She might message you with more effort this time, not just a simple hey, but something more meaningful. She might bring up an inside joke, trying to reignite a connection. She might even openly express that she misses you, something she would have never done before. And why? Because now she feels like she's the one who lost something valuable. She's no longer acting from a place of security. She's acting from a place of fear. Fear that she misjudged you, fear that she waited too long, fear that you've leveled up so much that you no longer see her the same way. Because once a woman realizes she doesn't have control anymore, she starts seeing you as a challenge. And that's when she starts chasing. The ultimate realization comes when she knows she can't replace you. By this point, she's gone through every stage: indifference, doubt, frustration, panic, and now full-blown realization. She knows something now that she didn't understand before. Losing you wasn't just losing a guy. It was losing a rare experience, a connection, a feeling she might never find again. At first, she thought she could replace you. She thought she could distract herself, move on, and keep her sense of control intact. But reality has hit her hard. Because now, she's seen what's out there. She's interacted with other men, had conversations, gone on dates, entertained attention from different people, and yet something is missing. She's realizing that most men aren't like you. Most men don't bring the same energy, the same presence, the same depth. Most men chase too easily, give their attention away freely, or lack the confidence to hold their own. And now, when she looks back at you, she sees something she didn't appreciate before. You were different, and she lost that. This is the final emotional stage. The stage where she truly understands that letting you go wasn't just a temporary loss. It might have been one of her biggest. This is where her emotions reach their peak. She doesn't just want you back. She starts feeling the need to have you in her life again. But here's where everything flips, because now it's no longer about what she wants. It's about what you want. By this stage, you're not even the same man anymore. The version of you that once waited for her, that once gave unlimited attention, that once felt like she was the prize, that version of you no longer exists. You've changed. You've elevated. You've realized something more powerful than anything she's going through. You were never meant to be with someone who needed to lose you just to see your value. A high-value man never has to teach a woman to appreciate him. She either recognizes his worth from the start, or she loses the opportunity forever. By the time she comes back, you'll see things clearly. You'll see that her regret isn't your responsibility to fix. You'll see that her realization came too late. Most importantly, you'll see that you never actually lost anything, because the truth is, she was the one who lost you. Now you get to decide whether she's worth giving another chance, or if she's just another lesson in your journey toward becoming a man that no woman will ever take for granted again. If this video opened your eyes, hit the next one on your screen. The moment you realize your worth, everything changes.